Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. This year's election will prove to be anything but normal. If you're confused about how to make your vote count, you're not alone. For those who don't want to go to the polls, here's a look at the process for mail-in ballots.
Voters are not being mailed an actual ballot automatically.
Thanks to the pandemic, voting in this year's general election will be a little different.
They're being mailed what looks like this, the application for a ballot, which is kind of annoying. It's an extra step, but the good news is that it's all postage paid, so you don't have to put stamps on anything. But once you open it up, you'll see there's your actual application to fill out, and there are instructions with some of the deadlines involved.
If you haven't received your application for voting in the mail, you should be getting it this week. Now remember, this application has to get back to the local Board of Elections by October 20th. Not postmarked, but actually arrive at your local board.
An absentee is now the same thing as a mail-in ballot for this election?
Correct. You don't need to be absent. You don't need to pretend to be absent. You can, for whatever reason, if it's the pandemic or you just don't feel like it, be able to vote by mail. You can also vote at an early vote center or on election day. You have lots of choices. But the reality is that we want it to be easy for people, and it's not turning out to be that.
Now, Senator Kagan says if you already requested your ballot online, there is no need to fill out the mail-in application. But to be sure your vote is counted, check the Board of Elections voter lookup website.
Now, if for some reason it didn't come, I know that I have the option to go to an early vote center and or on election day to any voting site anywhere in your home county and cast a ballot.
To check on whether your ballot application has been received or for other voter information, you can go to electionsmaryland.gov. Well, the legendary former basketball coach from Georgetown University passes away. Coach John Thompson Jr. has died at the age of 78. He led the Hoyas to a national championship in 1984 and also led Georgetown to 7 Big East titles and sent several players to the NBA. While highly successful on the court, off the court, he was seen as a towering figure on social issues. Wise High School coach Lewis Wilson speaks fondly of the man sometimes known as Big John.
Coach Thompson was one of my great mentors. As I got into coaching, I wanted to do things to emulate the great, John Thompson. I wanted to emulate showing the care and passion for my players, showing how to motivate them. He not only was, well liked in the basketball arena, but he was admired in the community. I mean, he was a community leader. He showed great leadership of men, and he cared so much for men and young men, even after their playing days are over.
Thompson was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1999. No word yet on funeral arrangements. Meantime, a former Georgetown University basketball player reflects on the legacy of Thompson. Felix Yeoman, who played for the Hoyas from 1974 to 78, says he first met Thompson when he was just 14 years old. In fact, he played under him at St. Anthony's High School and followed him to Georgetown.
I followed John Thompson from St. Anthony's to Georgetown to play, mainly because of the coach's character. The fact that he was a strong disciplinarian, and because he put emphasis on athletics. There were a lot of players that Coach Thompson was a father figure to, and for me, he was a mentor. I had very strong family ties at home, but I had the convenience of having a strong father figure at home and strong family. And then when I got into the gym, which at 14, 15, 16 years old, basketball was my life. I had an opportunity to play for someone who was a disciplinarian and also a father figure.
Thompson was 78 years old. The actor who brought Black Panther to the big screen loses his long battle with cancer. Chadwick Boseman passed away from stage 4 colon cancer over the weekend at the age of 43. Boseman was the leading actor in movies like Marshall, 42, and Get On Up. His most notable role was as King T'Challa in the Marvel blockbuster film Black Panther.
We lost a good one. I'll say that, we lost a good one.
My husband told me when I got up that morning, and my spirit is still grieved. And every time I see or hear something on the news about it, I go into this grieving spirit. So it's just sad.
It's very unfortunate. I'm very glad that he left behind the legacy that he did, because it's allowing young children to see a superhero which they've never seen it before, especially for the young kids of color.
Boseman, a Howard University graduate, was diagnosed with cancer back in 2016. According to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, 1 in 46 African American men die from colorectal cancer every year. Well, it is back to school virtually for hundreds of thousands of kids across our region for the start of the school year. Most of the county's teachers are working from home, but not all of them. In her welcome letter, school CEO Dr. Monica Goldson said the decision to extend distance learning for the first semester was not easy or rushed, but necessary to put safety and health above the desire for normalcy. The school system has opened support centers countywide where parents can get help with technology, navigating online platforms, and other issues. Those centers are open Monday through Wednesday. Also, students pre-K through 5th grade without a computer can view lessons on PGCTV, Comcast Channel 96, and Verizon 38. For more information, you can reach the Distance Learning Hotline at 240-696-6229. For more information, you can also go to pgcps.org. Because of fears of COVID-19 spreading, a Prince George's County student is forced to move back home after only 1 week on campus at Towson University. This is Jordan Moore, and she's a freshman. She's pictured here with some of the friends she met during her short time on campus. Moore says she understands the university's decision to move all classes online and to close the residential halls. However, she wanted to have a normal college experience after missing out on her high school graduation.
It's very sad. It's truly heartbreaking. Because, those are big moments in your life that you always look back on. You remember the good times. You were in the good days, as people like to say. And it's I don't have any pictures of that, any memories for any of those events, just nothing. But I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason.
Moore says she will continue her studies at Towson and hopes that she can move back to campus in the spring. The nonprofit People for Change Coalition and Maryland Alliance for Justice Reform are hosting a town hall tonight. The topic, disproportionate incarceration rates of young Black men in Maryland. Organizers are hoping the discussion will lead to legislation during the upcoming General Assembly session. Among those on tonight's panel, State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy.
My hope is that we really begin to look at some of the underlying factors that lead to mass incarceration and the disproportionate number of African Americans who are in our jails and prisons. It's really difficult to show a lot of compassion for those individuals in the system, right? Because they have either hurt someone or they potentially have killed someone. Our goal is to prevent those deaths. Prevent those violent acts so that we don't see a large number of really young people facing, life in prison or decades behind bars.
The public is invited to take part in the free event. It's set for tonight at 7 o'clock. To get more information, go to pfccoalition.org and then go to the Events tab. The State Health Department today reports 458 new COVID-19 cases. The number of confirmed cases is now more than 108,000. 3 new deaths were reported overnight. As of today, the Maryland death toll stands at 3,612. And housing advocates and lawyers are urging Marylanders who face evictions to fight for their housing in court. With failure to pay rent cases set to resume next week in district court, advocates are expecting a wave of evictions. Many people have been unable to pay their rent because of lost income due to COVID-19. A Chicago-based consulting firm found that some 274,000 households in Maryland have lost income due to the pandemic. The Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service says that tenants who are served an eviction notice must appear in court in order to challenge the eviction. To conclude our coverage of the centennial anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, we take a look at someone who had a profound impact on the suffrage movement. His name was Harry Byrne, and he helped give women the right to vote.
There were strong anti-suffrage forces in Tennessee, which were really complicated a great deal by race, because there was a belief that enfranchising women was one thing in the South or in Tennessee, but enfranchising African American women was something that many state legislators did not support. They believed that the youngest state legislator, Harry Byrne, was a no vote. He had been advocating that he was a no vote and been voting along with the anti-suffragists all along in several procedural votes previously. What the suffragists didn't know was that Harry Byrne had received a letter from his mother earlier in the day. And she was not a suffragist, but she was a supporter of women voting. She wasn't an active proponent, but she was a supporter of women voting. And she wrote to her son, to Harry Byrne, and said, Harry, I don't like the way that you've been voting the past couple of days. Be a good boy and support Carrie Catt, who was the lead suffragist, the lead pro-suffragist on the 19th Amendment side. And so Harry Byrne was very affected by this letter from his mother, and he changed his vote and became the state legislator who put the 19th Amendment over the top, ratifying the amendment in Tennessee, and of course, preempting it for inclusion in the Constitution.
The mother of Breonna Taylor, along with 30 other members, were in Annapolis on Saturday as Mayor Gavin Buckley officially proclaimed the day as Breonna Taylor Day in the city. Taylor's mother and relatives were on hand as the city dedicated a mural that memorializes Taylor, who was killed when police in Louisville, Kentucky shot her while executing a no-knock warrant. Now, the painted mural covers 2 basketball courts in Chambers Park. A motorcycle crash claims the life of a Capitol Heights man. Police say 33-year-old Darrell Venable was driving his motorcycle in Springdale when he crashed into a parked car. The incident happened in the 9500 block of Ardwick-Ardmore Road about 8:30 last night. Police say it's unclear why the crash occurred. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to contact authorities. Well, sports news from the NFL. He is a rookie with the Washington football team, and he's expected to be a spark plug on offense. Antonio Gibson was drafted in the 3rd round from Memphis. He's a running back and a wide receiver, but what makes him special is his blazing speed.
I feel like football is football at the end of the day. It's just, once you always go up to that next level, and things got to be more detailed because everybody's quicker, everybody's faster. So you have to be sharper on those things.
He's a great young man. I really love his demeanor and his approach to things. His honesty about being surprised about how some things are.
I just like to make plays happen. I'm not the type of guy, that wants to go down on the first contact. I want to get those extra yards. And I also feel like it comes from other sports that I played my whole life. My mom put me in everything, from baseball, which I definitely say helped me with vision. Basketball, that's a kind of a finesse game. So I feel like I got some of my moves. I can relate some of my basketball moves to football. I feel like it all translates, and, it all helps me out when I'm playing.
When he does it right, man, you do see that athleticism. You do see that burst. You see that ability. He's an exciting, young, dynamic player.
DB, linebacker, whoever you put out there, I got that mindset. If you line up in front of me, you're going to have to give me your all, because I feel like nobody can guard me if you lined up across from me. And that's just my mindset from playing receiver all these years. So linebacker, DB, safety, whoever, I'm coming at you.
Washington plays its first game in 2 weeks. And that is your CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Villa, and have a great evening.